Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an Undersea Dominions 5 extravaganza unlike anything you have seen before. Now, all hype aside, I'm Marcus Aurelius, and a few of you might be wondering, hey, Marcus, what's going on? You're supposed to be retired, and your last series, The Return of Ursula, also Dominions 5, was supposed to be your last. Well, that is actually still technically true, and let me explain. You see, I was having such a good time playing that series that I wanted to play more Dominions. But I couldn't get too far ahead of the story because that series focused a lot on the viewers. The viewers gave names for commanders, the viewers role-played in the comments, the viewers provided artwork. They were very involved, so I really couldn't get too far ahead of the story. So I was like, okay, but I want to play more Dominions. What can I do? So I thought, all right, well, let's just start a new game that I'll just play offline without recording. And I've always kind of wanted to play a really big mix-up in the ocean. I wanted to play a game with all of the underwater nations and kind of see how that went. But then I thought more about it, and I'm like, well, Marcus, if you're just going to do that, why not film it? I mean, why not, right? So even though you are watching this after the Return of Ursula series is over, I'm actually filming it at the same time. So by the time you see this first episode, this series is already going to be over in terms of recording. So technically I am retired. But that's going to make this series very different from my previous series because there's going to be no named commanders, no skits, no role-playing. It's just going to be me playing the game, kind of explaining what I'm doing, pretty much just like every other Dominions 5 LP out there on YouTube. So why would you want to watch this? Well, I'm going to make it a bit more challenging than I normally do. I'm going to bump up the AI to Mighty, which gives the AI incredible bonuses to resources, income, and the amount of points they can put into their Pretender. It's also kind of unique thematically. Again, I don't see a lot of underwater LPs. There are LPs of underwater nations, but they always are on maps where the water is a very small portion of the map. And so most of the game still takes place on land. Whereas in this one, I spent hours on the map maker in order to finally get a map that's mostly ocean with just a few islands. So I think it's really going to turn out fun. But, I could possibly lose. Who knows? I mean, I do. By the time you watch this, I'll know if I won or lost. But right now that I'm recording it, I don't. So it's just going to be interesting in that respect. It's going to be a bit less of a storytelling experience and a bit more of actually seeing me try to win against overwhelming odds and challenges. Obviously, I'm a skilled Dominions player. I've been playing a lot, but I am not an expert. I don't ever claim to be an expert. There are other people out there who are far superior to I am. And so, this is going to be kind of a ride for me. So anyways, let's stop wasting time and start getting started. So we are going to create a world. And I've got a few choices here. FFT means fish food test. This is called fish food, by the way, because I figure all of the underwater Triton and merman corpses that we're littering the bottom of the ocean with are going to provide excellent sustenance for the local aquatic life. They're going to be sleeping with the fishes, so to speak. But as you can see here, they're heavily in favor of sea provinces. FFT3 has the best land to sea ratio, but the problem with it is that it's just, well, actually, it seems all right. This one actually seems like a good one. You've got two separate bigger islands with a bunch of little islands, mostly sea. That one's all right. Let's look at FFT2. This one's also good. A little bit more in the way of small islands, but you still have two separate land masses. I wanted two. I didn't want one big landmass. But it also has that weird bug where they cut lines through the islands, which I don't like. FFT1. Ooh, this one's nice too. It doesn't have as many little islands, but it has, well, there's so many provinces on here though that I think it overwhelms. Yeah, this has like 11 more. So we're going to go with FFT3, I think. I'm pretty happy with this. This provides tons of undersea areas and two decently sized islands. We're going to call this Fish Food LP. All right. And I actually decided long ago that I want to play a nation that has bedeviled me in my Uruk campaign, and that is the nation of Yis, the Morgen Queens. And before we get into this big debate again, I've heard people say it's pronounced Ease. I'm just going to pronounce it Yis, and you're going to deal with it. Because I don't honestly know how it should be pronounced, and everybody has their own different ideas, and Yis is just easy for me to pronounce. I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to bump up. I played difficult AI with Uruk, but I'm going to bump up to mighty for these guys, and we're going to go with just an undersea extravaganza. We're going to go with Xibalba, who actually starts on land, but they are amphibious frog people, so they will be in the ocean. I will be having Atlantis, Kings of the Deep. I will be having R'lyeh, the Fallen Star. I will be having Pelagia, the Triton Kings, and Oceania, the Myrmidons. I'll explain more about these races as we encounter them. I'm going to make this kind of a get started quick series rather than a big episode at the beginning where everything's explained. Again, I'm just kind of playing this for fun, and I'm recording it for fun. So I think this is good. All right, so what is our strength? We have pretty actually decent troops. They're not very well armored, but compared to a human, they're all right. They have more hit points, generally. Well, these are the good guys. Well, no, 14. So 14 hit points, so 4 more than a human. They have a little bit more strength than a human. The average human has 10. They have 12. As you can see here, their attack skill's not great. The protection for these guys is pretty weak. Their best fieldable infantry unit, the man-at-arms, is pretty decent, though, all around. I mean, not great. They're not going to win a war by themselves, but they're not terrible. Relative to an average human heavy infantry, they're okay. But then you have the coup de grace, which is the Morvok Knights, your sacred ladies. These things are beasts. Even without a bless, they are horrific. If you saw my Uruk campaign, you will see the kind of damage that they are capable of doing. And in this one, I'm going to have a pretty good bless. So I'm expecting great things out of these ladies. However, they are incredibly expensive, so my start position is going to make a huge difference. If I start surrounded by sea provinces, many of them, and I can generate a lot of resources, I can start massing these ladies quite effectively. If I start on a coast or something, then obviously the amount of them I'm going to be able to recruit is going to be mitigated because they have pretty high resource requirements. 53, right? So that's kind of important. This nation does also have specific troops that can only be recruited on land. So if we ever make landfall, we'll be able to build a fort and get these national troops. Nothing too interesting. They're decent. They're like Marverni troops almost. Except this guy, he is sacred. And what he can do is, he's very cheap. He only costs, I think, 16 gold a year. So like a little more than 1 gold a month, which is a turn. But he can summon free spawn swans, which are absolutely terrible units. And they're not sacred, but you could mass them so quickly that you could like shoot an army of 100 swans at somebody. And even if they lose, which is quite likely, they're kind of annoying. So I think that's kind of fun. We might play with some swans, even though there's not a lot of land in the game, and they're obviously a land unit. They're not deep diving swans. But the Pretender chassis. So I thought long and hard about this. They want you to choose this guy, the Father of the Sea. And the reason I say they want you is because they give you a 20-point deduction in cost for this particular nation. And he's all right. He can teleport anywhere. And it's innate teleportation, too. It's not a spell. But he cannot go on land, which is not terrible for this nation. But again, the reason you would choose one of these guys is because they start with high dominion. But I'm not too concerned about that. Next, you have your Titans. Now, that's like Ursula. A Titan is generally good at 1, 2, or 3 magic paths and has a lot of other perks. Like they're strong. They generally have special abilities. But I'm not a fan. Now, there's some they want you to get, like the Son of the Sea, who's a 20-point reduction again. But I wanted a very particular bless, and none of these guys had the right magical coordinates to give me the bless I wanted. And you'll notice, like, for example, I thought of the Titan of the Sea, but if you want to add another magic path to him, it costs 60 points. So I finally decided that I was going to go... And by the way, this group here are what you, I guess, would call Awake Expanding. Well, not these two, I guess, but these are basically just big monsters, don't have a ton of magic, maybe one particular magic path that they're good at, but these are good to start Awake and just take provinces on their own. Well, I don't know about this guy. I've never played with the Trinity before, but instead, though, they want you to take the Morgen Queen down here. And these are the kind of rainbow mages where it's cheap to get an extra magical path, only 10 points. But all of our national troops have air, and I'm not really interested in air for my bless, so I finally decided to go with the Grand Hydromancer, where he's still cheaper than the Morgen Queen, even without the reduction. And in terms of what I wanted here, I wanted to go a little bit of water, a little bit of death, I think it's only 5, and a little bit of earth. And I'll tell you why. The water, oh, well, hold on a sec, get some cold. So the water is going to give us frost weapons, which all blessed units have additional cold damage with their attacks. For the earth, we're just going to get reinvigoration ×2. This is more important for our thugs and mages. One thing cool about these guys, compared to, say, Uruk, is they have recruitable thugs. Like their Morgan princesses and Morgan captains are actually really awesome just by themselves. You don't have to give them items, and they're still pretty hardcore. So, but reinvigoration is essential for the survival of thugs and super combatants. So, and then finally with death, we get Stygian Flesh, which gives them 10 invulnerability. Now, I don't exactly know the dictionary definition of what invulnerability does, but it is what it says. It makes you almost impossible to hit with non-magical weapons, which is pretty cool. As far as points, I'm going to go with 1 order, 1 production, because we're going to need recruitment points and supplies. 1 growth, because we're going to need some, income. And I think I'm going to go with 5 dominion and 1 luck. That's what I'm going to do. And this is because they have some cool heroes. They have 2, actually. One is the founder of the country, and the other is the mother of the founder of the country, and they're both pretty hardcore. But anywho, I've already done all this, though, so we're going to load my Pretender God already, and that is I Hear You Can Talk to Fish. Alright. I love bumping up special sites, plus in this game it's going to be more important for me, because the only way I'm going to be able to stand against the tide of AI is through cleverness and utilizing magic to its fullest, because those are areas where the AI is weak. I will never be able to beat them in a straight-up fight because they're going to get bonuses to how many troops they can recruit. Story events? Okay, let's roll the dice. Why not? Okay, I am going to make the magic research slightly easy. This is a concession I'm making for YouTube because I don't want this to be over before we have the ability to bring out some cool magic. I like you, the viewer, to be able to see cool magic, cool summons, and stuff like that. I am going to do the thrones a bit differently than usual. Normally I do 1 level 3, 2 level 2, and a small number of level 1s, but I think this time I want everyone to be able to get thrones, and I want, like, in my Uruk campaign, the way the thrones were set up is that, like, you could win a game with just taking 4 thrones that were relatively close to the capital, and I don't want it to be that way. So my initial plan was to go with 10 level 1s, but I found in my tests that this makes thrones, like, everywhere. So I'm going to lower it to 8, and I'm going to say that to win, you're going to need 5, which is half plus 1. So that seems like a fair way to go for me. Renaming will be allowed. Again, I won't be taking name suggestions from the audience. By the time you see this, the series is already done, but I might want to rename my own units myself for fun or convenience if they have specific magic paths that I want to remember. Alright, I hear you can talk to fish, the god of yes. Okay, so this is not the best start position in the world because we have this land island connecting to us. That means we only have 4 bordering sea provinces. Hopefully there will be enough resources in these 4 provinces, especially with my scales, to allow me to mass produce the Morvok Knights. But let's kind of get a sense of where we are in the world. So we're to the east of one major island, and we're to the southwest of the other major island. It looks like the vast majority, all thrones actually, but one are under the sea. So that's perfect for us. And there's one here on land. I actually had one test, not on this map, but on a different one, where 5 of the 10 thrones were on land, even though land was only like 15% of the map. So I think we gonna be good. So, all right, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the nation and what they're good at when they're not good at. We're just going to play it out. But I do have some research priorities here. So I'm going to have to leverage magic right away. And the basic mage of this nation has water magic and other things too. But one cool thing about playing underwater is that the vast majority of spells do not work underwater. So if you're one of those people who get caught up in variety and having too much to choose from, being underwater calms you a little bit, kind of like the sound of the waves themselves, because you know exactly what you're looking for because it's very direct. So there's a few spells that work well underwater, and we are going to go for them. Primarily, I'm going to start with Evocation 1, which will give me a spell called Water Strike, which is basically just an underwater attack spell that our mages can cast right out of the box. But I want them to be able to do that effectively, so then I'm going to go to Enchantment 2. That is going to give me Water Shield. This will protect my units underwater. Again, only 1 water is required to cast it. From there, I'm going to go to Conjuration 2, and that is to give me a spell called Summon Water Power, wherever it is. There it is. Also only 1 water, and what this does is it doubles your nature or your water mage's strength. So if they have 1 water, now they have 2. It can only be cast underwater, but it allows them to cast better spells, but it also allows them to cast the spells they can already cast more effectively with less fatigue. So again, this is going to get me started right away with making my little mages effective in battle to help support our troops, who are, you know, as I mentioned, pretty decent but not fantastic. Then we're going to continue to Alteration 4, and the reason we're going to do that is for a few things. It will give us Quicken Self and Ice Shield. Both can be used underwater, but more essentially, it gives us Liquid Body, which is a great protection spell for all underwater. Well, anybody really can use this on land too, but it's a great protection spell. We'll also have access to Quickness, which is like the quick one before, but for troops. Slow, which can slow enemies. Encase in Ice, which encases enemies in ice. Duh. And Numbness. And after that, we don't have the room to start now, but after that, we are then going to go to Construction 4 to create an item called a Water Lens, which is really important. It gives you a water gem, essentially, so it expands your water spell casting abilities each battle. And then we're going to go to Enchantment 5 to get a spell called Friendly Currents, which is essential. It does take a water gem, so we need the lens first, but it essentially makes everything easier for your troops and harder for the enemy. So that is my research plan. Kamigal, we're going to make you the prophet. I don't like Kamigal. I'm going to name you, what's something appropriately fishy? How about Guppy? Well, but no, this guy is the prophet. He's a leader. He has to inspire the marrow. So I just don't think Guppy is elaborate and grand enough. What could we do? How about, oh, I got it. Lord Guppy. There we go. Now he's perfect. Lord Guppy. All right. Let us prophetize Lord Guppy. Or Guppy. And all right. So here's what we're going to do. These guys are amazing, but we can't afford them right now. I'm not going to start recruiting Morgen Knights until our god becomes available. So early expansion is going to be on the backs of our little marrow friends. What's cool about these guys is they have 3 commander points, which means that I can't recruit my best mage in 1 turn, but anybody else, I can do multiple things. Like, for example, if I get a druid, I can only get 1. I mean, like, if I put 2, then 1 will be half paid for, but my research mage will be the druid, but then I also have an extra point to spend on a commander or a scout. So you'll see a lot of national scouts in this one, which normally you want to get independent scouts. And let's get a couple of these guys, and let's round it out, maybe 3, and round it out with these guys, maybe 4? No, that's not enough. We need more volume. Oh, but we're out of gold. Look at that. Alright, that'll do her. We can get started for next turn, I guess. Alright. Anything else? Probably no mercenary. Yeah, mercenaries are all land mercenaries, so not going to do much good for us. And let's end the turn. Alright, relay. Zuldram, the Illithid Lord, will be the prophet of Hulud. So, relay, you could think of them as, if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, they're essentially mind flayers, but they come from outer space, and they landed on this world, they crashed in the ocean, and now they're very few, but they're very powerful, and they're enslaving the undersea races. So their troops are a mixture of Atlanteans and Tritons that have all been kind of enslaved, mind-controlled, or lobotomized. Pelagia is the sea nation of the sea. Essentially, they should be the best underwater because they're the worst on land. Like, all the other nations have some amphibious capabilities, and Pelagia does too, I think, but they're mostly meant to be underwater. They're the Tritons, you know? So the Tritons can't go on land. The Mer people can. And that's Strymon, the Pelagian captain. And us, of course, Lord Guppy. Our enemies quake at the name Lord Guppy. Okay, so we are not starting off great. Shambler, actually, we can probably take some Shamblers. The Triton Troopers will just whip us from one end of the ocean to the other. They're wearing full armor, so they're the equivalent of our best troops, but they have poison weapons. And we have to be careful about that when we're fighting Tritons, because they have poison weapons, and poison sucks. And now these are Shark Tribe. So we don't see them, but maybe there'll be sharks in here. And then down here we have Triton Troopers and Triton Knights. So we don't have any gimmies here. Sometimes you get gimmies, just Tritons with knives that kind of suck. These guys actually look like they have knives, but there's something special about Shark Tribe that I can't remember. Maybe they go berserk. I forget exactly, but Shark Tribe. So honestly, it feels like the Shamblers are our best bet. So we'll give it a try. We'll lead with our armored guys, and we'll come in and hit the back with our... You know what else I'm going to do? It's very easy to get flanked undersea, especially with a small army, so we're going to have a small guard as well. So you're going to hold... no, actually, you're just going to straight up attack rearmost. Lord Guppy, you're going to get here, and there's no point in blessing, because we don't have any sacred troops, and Lord Guppy's always blessed. So we're going to go with Sermon of Courage. And then finally, Watery Death, which is the smite spell of a watercaster. If you'll recall from my previous Uruk campaign in Ursula, it's the equivalent of Word of Thorns for a nature caster. Alright. I honestly don't know how this is going to go. This is a really tough start. Much tougher than all of my previous tests. So, like, these guys will wreck us. Oh boy. Well, we'll see. And this is definitely not good against the strong AI, because they're going to expand like crazy. But we're going to give it our best shot. We're going to recruit another Druid, throw another Scout in there. Okay. I think we good. Okay, we got our first evocation, so now we have the water attack spell. We do have one of enchantment. Lucky Lake. Well, let's see if we were lucky in Lucky Lake. First off, how many Shamblers do they have? Okay, so pretty much exactly what our scouts expected. There's about 10. Exactly 10. Shamblers don't have any protection. Well, they have a bit more natural protection than Atlantean, but their defense is low. I mean, essentially what makes them good is their high strength, their large size, and their hit points. They used to be fun to recruit because they were incredibly expensive in terms of gold, but incredibly cheap in terms of resources. So you could, if you had a ton of money, you could mass them. And that was especially useful for a land nation who wanted to go undersea. But now with recruitment points, that's changed a bit. All right, this dude has a coral club. Once again, coral is poisonous. So, not a good time. We can speed this up because it's not very exciting. Battles seem to move slower under the sea. Okay, seems like we're getting the work done. Lord Guppy is just... See the poison? See the poison? Huh. Alright. So we lost 2 infantry. Wow. Oof, a lot of infantry. And 3 spearmen. But we did win. But as you can see, this is not the best start position. More shark tribe. Now, we might want to take this province as soon as possible. It doesn't border our capital, but it's Meros. Why is that important? Because we are Meros, and so they like us. So it's not going to make conquering it any easier, but once we do conquer it, we'll be able to... province defense, essentially, will be better. We'll be able to get higher province defense for the same cost. But let's send you over to this throne. It's imperative that we find our enemies as soon as possible. And, whew, boy. See, this sucks. This is going to be bad early expansion. But we're going to have to go back home. And then I honestly don't know what to do here. We're surrounded by really tough troops. I guess Shark Tribe's the next place to go. Because the troopers are just horrific. But we're not going to go alone. We're going to send a mage out with our guys. And now we have more resources, so we can get more of these actually armored guys, though volume is still important too. We're out of gold. Wow. That's not looking great for us, even with our Order of Dominion. 3,000, 11,000, 4,000. So depending on what the population is here, we can't draw any resources from this island. All right. Let's get you up here. All right, cool. Oh, we got a 2 earth. What's cool about that is we could use him for site searching. We have a chance at 2 earth and 2 water. I might as well go over our druids real quick. So we have 1 water and 1 earth always, and 1 holy. We have a chance of water, earth, astral, or nature. So they can get 2 water, 2 earth, 1 astral, or 1 nature. So for earth and water, they are great for site searching early on. But, alright, we good. Xibalba. Mitnal the Mooch Kahul. So Xibalba is basically an amphibious nation of frog people backed up by some bat people. So they're going to start probably on one of these big islands. And they're going to, I mean, they're pretty strong on land, so I won't expect that they would have much trouble contesting the island. But they have to go undersea at some point in this campaign to get thrones, and that's when we're going to fight them. They have poison skin, I think. Not sure how that works in terms of mechanics. I guess if you're fighting with them, you get the poison that rubs off on you. So these aren't the kind of toads that things go well when you lick them. Rather, they're the kind of toads that things go very, very badly when you lick them. All right, I guess, Kalt, you can go over here. All right, Lord Guppy, let's load you up with some reinforcements. I wish you could have 3, so I could put 2 units. Morale's kind of important here, though. Oh, you're full? All right, let's get rid of 2 of these guys. Give you 2 more of the heavy hitters. And these guys actually moved really fast, so let's put them back a little bit more. All right, otherwise his spell's the same. Uar, you are going to come with us. So what we're going to do with you... Yeah, well, you don't have any good protection spells yet, so we're just going to Water Strike. And if you die, well, you gave your life for the glory of I Hear You Can Talk to Fish. Oh, man. All right, guard the commander. And we'll put him up with Lord Guppy so that Lord Guppy's guardians can help him as well. Plus, he'll be close enough to the action to actually do things. All right, well, here's hoping, huh? We're at almost 30 minutes, so let's just see how this goes. We're going to move you up. Let's take a look at this island here. Let's take a look at the throne. We probably want some province defense in here. All right, Atlanteans and Shaman. See, I see 20 gold, 1 resource, but look, 25 recruitment points. So back in the olden days, you could recruit up to 45 of these guys, right, at once, because of the resources. But now, sadly, no more. And we are recruiting... No. Oh, good thing I caught myself there. Let's get an expansion army out as soon as we can. We still need the cheapies. Man, why is our gold so shitty, though? I guess we might as well get another... They cost the same in terms of gold, so... Alright. Rolling the dice. Oceania. Okay, so Oceania is essentially Pangea underwater. So they're animal people. You've got the satyrs. You know, satyrs, like little goat men with horns from Greek myth. Only they're ichty satyrs. You have centaurs, like, you know, the horses with men and women bodies. Except they're ichty centaurs. And you have minotaurs, you know, like from the maze. But they're ichty tars. Because they're all undersea versions of them. And they're led by these... Basically, they're pans underwater, but they have a different name. They're called Capricorns. So they're essentially large goat men who cast a lot of spells. That's Oceania for you. Essentially. Lake Seaweed. We need this one. So come on. See, Water Strike. He's already Water Striking. Boom! He killed a guy. Nice. Man, Dominions is morally corrupting me. I see people get killed and I say, nice, instead of, oh my god, the horrible tragedy. Yeah, so that's what Shark Tribe is. Shark Tribe are berserkers. Luckily for us, that doesn't make them any stronger. Well, actually, it literally does make them stronger, but not, like, harder to kill, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But we gotta watch out because they do have coral knives, and apparently they bite. Holy shit. Oh, and they are wearing some rudimentary armor. But I think we've got this one. Between our water striking and our watery death. Yeah. Although look at them though, there. I mean, berserkers there fighting to the last fishman. But the poison did its toll. We lost 6 infantry and 7 spearmen. So as you see here, our casualties are through the roof. Now, I could throw a Morvok Knight in there and she would be an absolute beast, but it would just break my heart if she got poisoned, and then after winning the battle, she died of poison. That would be very sad. So we won, but at what cost? At what cost? All right, so you guys are going to head down, take these guys out, and we're going to send Benin with you. He'll be the southern flank. He's just going to hold. I guess Benin's fine. And Fallon, I actually kind of want you to go with him. We're going to need all the protection from cold, not that useful. Protection from poison, but it's the caster. They're not going to get to the caster, which is too bad. All right. So yeah, we need enchantment level 2 to get our defensive spells. Obviously, our research is starting off very slow because we're using our researchers for combat right out the gate. We need them. Attack, rearmost. All right, fun fact. You might know this already, but if you look at the province that you are attacking, you can push Y, and you can arrange your troops yet again. So Fallon, let's get you up here next to your buddies. And Benin, why don't we get you up there too? Oh, we have a scout here too? I was like, who's this dude? Alright, so I think we're ready to go. We're water striking, we're doing what we need to do. We can move the scout out of here. Let's head to the south. We have other scouts. Oh, there we go. So here is Oceania. They've already taken some land. Good for them. We're going to skirt around their capital. So they are not too far from us. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 steps away from us. Although this is a small map, so that's to be expected. But they might be our first tussling partner. Oh, man, what is with this? Then we've got sea trolls and a kraken? They just don't want us to take any territory. Meanwhile, what do they have? Well, they have Ichthyids. Ichthyids are weak, but it is a throne. So they have it rough because they have to border a throne. But Ichthyids, they have nets that are tough. They net your people. All right. Did we do our... No, we didn't. Okay. Mage. We'll throw another scout out there. I guess now that we have the resources, well, let's get a couple of the shitty guys. There we go. That's a good mix. I like this mix. Although we're out of money now for province defense. What can we recruit here? Just curious. We can recruit Berserking Tritons. But it's just look at how... Well, 5 protection? That's not that bad. How many can we get? 3 resources, 9 recruitment points, but 10 gold. See, right now the real limiter on us is gold. We're expanding very slowly. There's probably expert players watching this and like just gasping at how terrible I am. But again, you saw what we were up against. I mean, these are monstrous indies here. Alright, we have our enchantment. Now we're starting Conjuration. Atlantis, Tumha, the Mage of the Deep. So Atlantis is basically deep undersea fish people. That's the best way. The creature of the Black Lagoon. That's Atlantis. So there you go. There's a battle in Mu. Alright, here we are, a mighty army with 2 mages, water striking. So, Triton Knights, they recuperate. That's not going to save them in one battle. They do have great defense and protection, as you can see here. Great hit points. They have their thing that they're riding, their alicorn. It has a horn that does magical damage. Their coral, so poisoning spear plus lance. Very well armored. They're tough. They're pretty tough. And they tried to flank, but we stopped them. Well, maybe we stopped. And they're running, thank goodness. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Doing better than I expected. We only lost 3. Okay. You know what? I kind of like you guys. Like, I could give your troops to Lord Guppy, but then they wouldn't be able to be the southern flank. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you more troops so that we have roughly an equivalent amount. Perfect. All right, I like this. I like how this is set up. But I want to give the heavies to the front line. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And I'll give one of your guards to him. You only need 1 each, guys, because this guy has 5 that are going to be looking over you, too. Alright, so naturally we're going to want this one, but it's going to take 2 turns to get there. So I'm going to see if there's an easy grab. This looks interesting. It's a throne province that only has 20 basic bargain basement tritons. So some more marrows. That's cool. I don't know how I feel about this. There could be a surprise there waiting for us, like a mage, and we can just get trashed. Tritons and sea trolls and a kraken. So more trolls and krakens. God, this is nuts. Now that all these places are under our dominion, and we should be having pretty good... So 256 resources. We still have more to conquer, but that will give us... Well, it won't let us pick more without the gold, but that would get us 4 of these. So that's about it if we also get a... Well, our mages aren't really sacred. Yeah, they are. What am I saying? So we can get a mage and 4 of these. So that's enough. That's enough for what we're doing. Might want to grab the island. Though it's not worth building a fort on. I mean, our land troops aren't going to be that useful if they have nowhere to go. Although, fun fact, our Morgans, they do have sailing, which is kind of a weird skill set for them to have since they're underwater. But what sailing essentially does is it allows you to go from one land province to another land province that is only 1 water province away. So if we, like, led a land army here, they could sail to here, who could then sail to here, who could theoretically then sail to here. Now, wow, I'm kind of convincing myself that I might want to build a castle on this island. But I don't necessarily know if our land troops are any better than our marrows, who can also go on land. Oh boy. Alright, should I roll the dice though? Should I roll the dice on this throne? 20? There's a scout there. 20 tritons? You're not seeing any mages or anything? Alright, dice roll time. I love my dice roll time. Alright, let's get another scout up here. As far as recruitment, we're going to get another commander. And as much of our heavies as we can. That's fine, let's save some gold. Because one way to keep enemies from getting on your back is to have pretty decent province defense. Ooh. Okay, so I can recruit these guys here, but it's probably going to be really hard. 15 resources. Yeah, I could get 2 of these a turn, which still might be worth it. They're that good. Well, I mean, they're not. But I mean, they have the poison barbs. So anyone striking them will get poisoned. Anyone they strike will get poisoned. Otherwise, they have pretty decent human stats, but they do have the high defense and the high protection. I probably will never be able to recruit these guys because they take, well, no, 17%. Actually, I can recruit exactly 2 of these guys, but they're 50 gold a pop, whereas these are only 10. 50 gold. Whew, boy. And by the time I build a secondary fort, so hopefully we'll find, I mean, we can, actually, we already have more here. So if we build like a secondary fort here, which would get more resources in our capital, we could probably recruit the much more of these guys. That's kind of an interesting thought. All right. I'm dithering, though. This is supposed to be a casual Let's Play where I just play fast. Okay, we found Relay. Let's go take a look at them. I guess we'll go over here. All right. How are we doing on our research? Let's go to Construction 4. And, okay, we're almost at Conjuration 2, which means we do have Enchantment 2, which means that you guys can water shield yourself, which is fine. I don't know. I mean, I think that last battle we won primarily because these guys were like water striking out of the gate, but water shield is still nice. Essentially what it does is the caster is surrounded by strong currents, making him or her game very difficult to hit in combat. The spell can only be cast underwater. So let's do it. Last turn, because we're already at 42 minutes. All right, we also get to see an Oceania battle, which is fun. Okay, so they look similar to us, but different. Instead of Marrows, or mer creatures, they have Ichthysaurs, as I mentioned before. Oh, one unique fun fact about Oceania is most of their troops have recuperation, which means they heal automatically from their afflictions. I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, we either win the battle or we lose. I don't care if they heal after the battle. I mean, I guess you could make the statement that when there's large armies running around, that high numbers of afflictions matter. But anyways, they're okay. I mean, they're not bad. In fact, they might stack up pretty decently to our Marrows. They do have good defense skill, better defense skill than we do. Less protection than I think than our armored guys. But then you have the Ichthysaur soldiers who are pretty beastly. 12 protection, 14 defense skill. And they have bronze cuirass and a turtle shell shield. These guys only have a hauberk. And it's turtle shell, not bronze. They both do have bronze spears, though. Then we have Tiberius, the Ichthy Centaur commander. So basically just a centaur commander. He has a pearl trident, which is magical. Pretty sweet. And they have a ton of Ichthytars, which again are just minotaurs under the sea. And like minotaurs on land, they have berserk. So they're, I don't know. I would have probably rather tussled with somebody like, well, I don't know. Who would I want to tussle with rather than these guys? I guess all these nations we're fighting have their ups and downs. But you can see how they're working these shamblers, that they are pretty tough. So they lost nothing. They have a force of 29. Where is the Canis Plain? We'll have to find that out. All right, Troll Sea. The throne. Yep, I knew it. So they have 2 Hydromancers, which are better at water than we are. And they have tons of gems. So we'll see. They might, I bet you anything they're going to summon water elementals. I don't know how we are going to compete with that. But we'll see. What the hell was that just now? Water Ward? I'm not sure I know what that does. But our magic is doing its job. Our flankers, at least on the south end, are protecting our mages. They do, I believe, have... Yeah, they have the poison knives, but we should be able to repel a fair amount of them. and these guys are heading over to the commanders. I feel good about this, as long as my troops don't cut and run. Nope. Alright, we got some marrows heading for you. Nope, they decided they're not going to stay around. Nice. Alright. That's a great way to end an episode with a throne. We lost 5 spearmen, all of our... Wow, our druids, man. They're doing some work. And Lord Guppy. Can't forget Lord Guppy. Alright, what throne is it? Hopefully a good one? Oh, yes. Okay. This is good. This is good. We're going to fort this up. So we get a water gem, a nature gem, 50 gold, 50 resources, and Triton troopers. So we definitely need to fort this up. The problem is we're just poorer than dirt. And I think these particular group, their castles are 600. Yeah, rock walls, 600. Although, luckily, unlike Uruk, temples are only 400, not 600. So Oceania, I mean, they're not doing great. They have this province. They just took Knies Plain, although this army is decent. They'll take more. But I feel like we're getting a decent start. So, anywho, quick reminder. This is all being recorded at the same time as my previous series, The Return of Ursula, which means that any comments you make down in the comments, while I'd love to hear them, are not going to obviously be able to impact the gameplay, because the gameplay already happened. So feel free to critique my decisions in the comments. Just know that that isn't going to actually lead to a change in my tactics. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marcus Aurelius. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I want you to go out there and do amazing things. Have a good one.